Pharaoh and Prophet Moses. The fall of tyranny. In the ancient lands of Egypt, a ruler rose whose power seemed absolute. His name was Pharaoh, a king whose empire stretched across vast territories, whose commands were obeyed without question, and whose authority was feared by millions. But beneath this power lay arrogance, and that arrogance would define his downfall. The children of Israel lived under severe oppression. They were enslaved, overworked, and stripped of their basic dignity. Generation after generation, they lived in chains. Pharaoh did not see himself as a ruler among men. He declared himself a god. "I am your highest lord," he claimed. But no tyranny lasts forever. At this critical moment in history, Allah sent his chosen messenger, along with his brother. He was commanded to stand before Pharaoh and deliver a message of truth, justice, and freedom. They entered the royal court without fear, and they said, "Free the children of Israel and turn away from oppression." Pharaoh responded with arrogance and ridicule. "If you are truly a prophet," he said, "then bring a sign that proves your claim." What followed would become one of the most defining moments in history. Musa threw down his staff, and it transformed into a living serpent. Then he drew out his hand, and it shone with a radiant light that filled the space around him. The court fell into silence. Shock replaced confidence. But Pharaoh rejected the truth, calling it nothing more than magic. A public challenge was declared. The greatest magicians of Egypt were summoned. A massive crowd gathered to witness what they believed would be a final victory over Musa. The magicians performed their illusions. Ropes and sticks appeared as moving serpents, filling the field with fear and deception. But then came the truth. Musa, by the command of Allah, cast his staff once again, and it consumed every illusion before it. In that moment, everything changed. The magicians, experts in deception themselves, recognized reality instantly. They fell into prostration and declared, "We believe in the Lord of Musa and Harun." Pharaoh's power was challenged publicly and visibly shaken. But instead of accepting truth, he chose anger, and oppression intensified. Soon after, signs of divine punishment began to unfold. A devastating storm struck Egypt. Locusts destroyed crops. Frogs overwhelmed homes, and the waters of the Nile turned into blood. Each time the punishment arrived, Pharaoh pleaded for relief, and each time it was removed, he broke his promise again. Finally, the command came. The children of Israel were instructed to leave Egypt at night. Under the cover of darkness, they began their journey toward freedom. But Pharaoh soon discovered their escape, and he pursued them with a massive army. Ahead of them was the sea. Behind them was destruction. Fear spread among the people. They believed there was no escape. But Musa, stood firm. "With me is my Lord," he declared. "He will guide us." Then came the divine command. He struck the sea with his staff, and the impossible happened. The waters split apart, forming towering walls on both sides, and a dry path in the middle. The children of Israel crossed safely, but Pharaoh, driven by pride and desperation, followed them into the sea. And when the last believer reached safety, the waters returned to their natural state. The sea closed in. The army vanished beneath the waves, and Pharaoh, the self-proclaimed god, faced his end. At the moment of drowning, he cried out, "I believe in the Lord of Moses!" But the moment had already passed, and history recorded a powerful lesson. That arrogance can build empires, but it can also destroy them in an instant. And that truth always prevails over falsehood.